Thanks for tuning in. Ham Talk Live will be on the air shortly. Please stand by. Thanks for tuning in. Ham Talk Live will be on the air shortly. Please stand by. This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you by Tower Electronics. For cables, connectors, and more, call 920-435-2973 or visit pl-259.com. And by the Ham Station. Get your new radio or antenna by calling 800-729-4373 or go to hamstation.com.
It's Ham Radio.
Hey, good evening, everyone. It's time for Ham Talk Live, episode number 67. CQ DX Hall of Fame inductee Jerry Rosalius, WB9Z, recorded live on Thursday, June 1st, 2017. I'm your host, Neil Rapp, WB9VPG. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ham Talk Live. Tonight, we are joined by Jerry, WB9Z, and we'll take your calls live in just a few minutes. If the audio sounds a little different tonight, don't have all the usual processing and everything. I'm actually on a spur-of-the-moment setup on Julie's kitchen table with the laptop and a microphone. We had an unexpected trip over to Cincinnati today. Julie's cat had to be put down from cancer and some intestinal blockage, and so I wasn't expecting to not be home, but threw everything in, and I think we've got everything working, and the internet seems to be holding up. So my apologies if we have some technical problems tonight. If that does happen, we'll get things rescheduled with Jerry, but so far everything's working great. So we'll keep on rolling here as long as it does. Well, last week on the show, Tom Vinson, NY0V, was here to talk about the search for Amelia Earhart and the ties to ham radio in that search. So if you missed that show, just go over to hamtalklive.com or one of the podcasting services, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, SoundCloud. And we're also over on YouTube. You can check out that show on demand. And a couple of notes before we get started. First of all, our friend Christian, K0STH, over at 100 Watts and a Wire, is sponsoring another operating event. This one's called Tune Up. It's a chance for you to test out some things before field day. So Tune Up runs June 10th and 11th on the HF bands. There are no rules. It's not a contest. It's just a chance to get out there and try out some of that gear before field day. So if you have a 100 Watts and a Wire ID number, you can exchange that. If you don't, you can go to 100wattsandawire.com and sign up for one and do that, or just go without. Would be fine too. So good luck to Christian on that event. And speaking of field day, Sean Kutzko, KX9X, will be here again this year, just like last year, the Thursday before field day to take your last-minute questions. So if you have any questions that you want answered about field day, Sean will be here, and again, that's the Thursday right before field day, June 22nd. So be sure to tune in for that and call in with your questions and maybe even a field day story or two. here on the show. Ham Nation, I was going to mention the 300th episode special event, but that actually ended at midnight. But if you participated in that and you need the rules, go over to QRZ.com and look up Whiskey Zero Hotel, W0H, over at QRZ.com. And it'll tell you all the information about how to get your certificates and all that kind of thing. So congratulations to them on their 300th show and the special event station, or the special event actually running several stations. So congratulations to them. Well, let's get on our way here. Get your questions ready to go for Jerry. We're going to talk to Jerry a little bit and find out a little bit about this award and some of the stuff he's done. And then you'll have a chance to call in and chat with us. The telephone number is 812-NET-HAM1. That's 812-638-4261. Or you can call us on Skype. You can use Skype to get us. The username is hamtalklive. And you can also tweet us. Our Twitter handle is @hamtalklive. So you can try any and all of those to get through to us tonight. And I'll be back with Jerry right after this word from Tower Electronics right here on Ham Talk Live. This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you in part by Tower Electronics. Tower Electronics has been the Ham's Dime store since 1978. When you need connectors, mobile and handheld antennas, cables, or adapters, visit Scott or Jill at a Hamfest near you. Or you can order online at pl-259.com or call 920-435-2973. Stock up on those supplies like PL259 and N connectors, SMA adapters, audio cables, soldering supplies, mobile antennas, and ham sticks. Their silver-plated N connectors are even used on the International Space Station. Tower Electronics carries MFJ, Comet, Daiwa, OPEC, Workman, and Ham Pro products. And don't miss their 0% off sale going on now. Tower Electronics, online at pl-259.com, proud to sponsor this episode of Ham Talk Live.
Two antennas met on a roof, fell in love, and got married. The ceremony wasn't much, but the reception was excellent. You're listening to Ham Talk Live with Neil Rapp.
Hey, thanks to Scott and Jill at Tower Electronics for sponsoring the show to help bring you Ham Talk Live. Coming up this weekend, we'll be at Princeton, Illinois at Hamfest there, June 4th. June 10th, they'll be at Newberry, Michigan. June 18th, Monroe, Michigan. And July 8th, they'll be in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Or you can give them a call at 920-435-2973 or visit their website at pl-259.com and tell them you heard it right here on Ham Talk Live. Ham Talk Live is on the air every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at hamtalklive.com. And if you miss the show, you can listen to the archive on the website or download it from most popular podcasting sites. Jerry Rosalius, WB9Z, is a well-known contester, DXer, and a member of many of the top 10 DXpedition teams. He's worked 315 countries on 160 meters from his home in central Illinois. Jerry has all countries confirmed across the other bands with 357 overall, including 5 band worked all zones on 80 through 10. And number 5 in the USA with all 40 zones on 160. Jerry has over 3,080 band countries confirmed, with well over 300 countries confirmed on each of the 9 bands 160 through 10, with 122 on 6 meters. He works all bands between 160 and 70 centimeters and has a pretty massive antenna farm with 10 towers. Jerry's licensed was earned back in 1971 at the age of 16, And his first call sign, WN9HAD, and then when they made the change to off of the N calls, it was WB9HAD, and then WB9Z since 1988. He's made the top 10 or better in the U.S. on the CQ and ARRL-DX contest, WPX, 160-meter and 10-meter contests, the IARU HF World Championship, and the VHF Plus contest, and has won the Central Division several times in the sideband sweepstakes. He's a member of the Society of Midwest Contesters, as well as many other organizations. And Jerry says he enjoys taking equipment, coax, and antennas overseas where he operates, then leaves it with some of the local radio operators to use. And just 2 weeks ago at Dayton, he was inducted into the CQDX Hall of Fame. So, Jerry, thanks for joining us on Ham Talk Live tonight.
Yeah, hi, Neil. Thanks for having me, and it's my pleasure and honor to be here this evening.
Well, at Hamvention this year, and I have to admit, I got word a little early that was going to happen, actually after I talked to you, but you were surprised to learn there at the DX banquet that you were inducted into the CQDX Hall of Fame. So tell us how you found out about it and how the ceremony went.
Well, I had kind of like heard a rumor, before, but I really didn't find out till the ceremony or the DX dinner. So, I was pretty shocked because there's so many deserving of this very prestigious award, the DX Hall of Fame. They only give 2 of those out every year, and there's only like 70 members on the DX Hall of Fame. So I was quite shocked, but everything went really well. I got up there and kind of stumbled through a few things, and my talk was pretty short. And everybody was glad of that, so they didn't have to, hear me go on and on about a bunch of stuff.
Okay, now, if you watched The Big Bang Theory by chance, Jerry? I didn't ask you about this.
Occasionally.
Occasionally? Okay, well, there was this one episode where the guy gets up to accept the award, Sheldon, and starts singing the periodic table song in front of everybody. So you didn't get up there and sing in front of everybody, did you?
No, I know better than that. that would empty the place really quickly.
Oh my! Well, yeah, that may not have been the greatest thing. We'll leave the singing to Ward. I know you've got some people that you want to thank. You mentioned that as we were getting ready for the show. So. If you'd like to thank some of those people who supported you for this, why go ahead and talk a little bit about that.
Well, thanks, Neil. I want to first of all I want to thank Dr. Ralph Fedor, Caesaro Italy Radio. He introduced me at the dinner, and he said a lot of good things and about me, and I was very, very taken by all of that. I want to thank CQ Magazine and N2OO, Bob. And then, of course, I want to thank Scott Wright, our friend Caesaro, Mike Delta. I believe he was, organized a campaign to get me inducted. So I want to thank Scott a lot. And then my good friend Glenn W0GJ and Bob K4UEE, who I've traveled with these guys, on many expeditions. They're super guys. They also wrote some letters, in my supporting me. And then I also believe there are some clubs that wrote in letters, like the Rochester DX and Contest Club, the Missouri DX and Contest Club, the Twin City DX Association, the Southeast DX Club, the Metro DX Club, that's in Chicago, and I belong to that. And I also belong to the Greater Milwaukee DX Association, and they also helped out with a letter. So I just wanted to kind of include that in there early.
Yeah, there's a lot of nominations there and a lot of support and that chief instigator of that K0MD, you got to watch out for that guy. So he will. I think he might be able to sell refrigerators to Eskimos. I'm not sure, but he can really promote ham radio, and that's one of the things he's good at. And so I'm glad he was in support of you, because you've done an awful lot of great things on the DX front, and one of those things is DXpeditions and your contributions to DXing. You've got every DXCC entity except North Korea on CW. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I've worked North Korea back in, I believe it was 2001 on sideband. I actually worked him twice, once on 10 meters and once on 15. But the North Koreans did not let him operate CW. So I don't. There's only a few stations in the world that have North Korea on CW, and I think just about everybody in the United States needs it on CW. So I'm one of them.
Yeah. Well, now that you've talked to all these places, you go to these places and operate from them. So you've been on several of the top 10 ones. Why don't we run down that list of the DXpeditions that you've been able to go on?
Yeah, I've been on 7 expeditions that were voted DXpedition of the year. So the first one, I'm not going to mention the ones in the Caribbean, because those were like contest expeditions, and but the first one back in I believe it was 1999 was on Christmas Island in the Indian Ocean. And also Cocos Keeling in the Indian Ocean. Those were VK9XX and VK9YY. And then also in 2001, I operated from Spratly in the South China Sea, and that was 9 Mike 0 Mike. And then I kind of took a break from traveling and made a whole bunch of trips down to PJ2T, Papa Japan 2 Tango, down on Curacao, and did a lot of operating from down there, contesting and doing tower and antenna work and stuff. I believe I made 16 trips down there, and then got back into DXpeditioning in 2009, and I talked to K4UEE Bob into letting me go along to Desecheo, and Desecheo was in the top 10. That was K5D, and then Dr. Ralph Fedor, K0IR, invited me to go to South Orkney, and that's in Antarctic region down there, VP8ORK. And then after that, it was Malpelo, which was off of Colombia. That's that 1,000-foot rock that sticks out of the Pacific Ocean. That's really a rugged place, and it's super hot too. After that, it was Swains Island in the Pacific, and that place was super hot, super humid, and I saw insects there that I didn't even know existed. And that I was really glad after 2 weeks on that island to leave. And then after that, it was Wake Island, and I think a lot of us remember Wake Island, where the historic World War II battleground was. We operated from there as K9W, and after that, in early 2014, was Amsterdam Island, and I was gone from home for 7 weeks on that trip. That was 9 days at sea from Western Australia. And of course 9 days back from the island, and that was a rough ride. And after that, it was Navassa down in the Caribbean. I was very fortunate to be on the first helicopter flight in and the last helicopter flight off of Navassa. And at the time, Navassa was number 1 or number 2 on the most wanted list, depending on what part of the world you were filling out the most wanted list. So it was right up there, either number 1 or number 2. And then the last one was Palmyra, and that was in the Pacific also. So there's quite a list there, and I got one coming up soon, but I think we'll mention that maybe a little bit down the road there.
Yeah, well, we'll switch that up. Go ahead and talk about the one that you're working on right now.
Well, the one coming up is Bouvet, and I think a lot of people need Bouvet. It's number 2 on the most wanted list, and Bouvet is going to happen in early 2018, and that's down in the Antarctic region. It's about 1,000 miles north of Antarctica, but it's a really desolate rock. It's been many, many years since it's been on the air. We're taking a big team down there, 20 operators, and a pretty large ship, 2 helicopters, and it's probably going to be one of the most expensive DXpeditions of all time. Our budget is $750,000. So,
wow.
Yeah, wow. So some of the expeditions I've been on in the past were like 300,000 and 400,000, and that was, obviously a lot. But this one is very expensive because we got a lot of danger involved, and we want to make sure nobody gets hurt. So that's why we're taking 2 helicopters and a large boat, and it's a safety factor thing. And I've been in the tower and antenna business for over 40 years. I'm all about safety, and everybody else is too. And we want to be able to get everybody on and off the island safely. And we got a pretty large ship that's going to be chartered to get us down there, stay with us, and get us back. So if anybody's interested, our website is Bouvet, that's BOUVET, DX, all one word, .org. And if anybody's interested in helping us out with a donation, you can do that right on the website.
Very good. And we had Ralph on talking about that trip on an earlier episode, too. So if you want to know more about the Bouvet trip, you can check out that episode with Ralph right here on Ham Talk Live, and we're hoping to do some updates from that trip once we get there. We'll talk more about that when we get closer to time, but we're hoping to kind of get a few updates on how that is going, and of course they can use the donations. So make sure you visit the site and help them out if you can to do that. Now, one of the things that I saw on the Bouvet DXpedition Twitter account here just a few days ago, I think it was Ralph on there, was talking about the choice of helicopter that I guess a one-engine helicopter is not the safest option. And so he was talking about having a 2-engine helicopter for the safety thing you were talking about.
Yeah. I believe the original helicopter was just a single-engine chopper. And, can you imagine being stuck on Bouvet? The helicopter broke and can't take off, and you got a team of 20 on the island ready to be extracted, and it's this is a lot more safe. I feel 100% better about the whole thing now that we have 2 helicopters and actually 4 engines.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Always good to have a backup, and that's kind of scary. Now I remember a similar DXpedition from. One that's kind of close to my heart because, Gary Stouter, K9SG, was the uncle of one of my students at school, and we were able to talk to him while he was down there. And also the video that kind of inspired Padraig Lysandru, the Young Ham of the Year, and a bazillion other awards. That was kind of what got him started on that path. Was that, they had to leave some people behind on the island with that chopper. They couldn't get the chopper from the island back to the boat enough times, and had to leave some people behind. That's pretty scary when you're out there in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I believe three, maybe four guys had to spend an extra night on the island. The weather turned bad, and the helicopter couldn't fly safely. It was getting late in the day, kind of thing. So I believe they were stuck on the island for an extra day. And I know Gary very well. As a matter of fact, I've done some contests with him down at PJ2T, and I've operated with Gary from Desecheo, Malpelo, and maybe somewhere else. But Gary's a good friend of mine also, K9 Sierra Golf.
Yeah, and we always tease him about his Hamvention parking story, but we'll save that for another time. So one last thing here before we take a break, and then we do have some tweets that have already come in, and so we'll get to those and the phone calls. But before I go, what's your strategy to get that North Korea checked off?
I have no strategy. Just live long enough to do it. It may take a long time the way things are going over there. It may never happen. I'm glad I have it for the mixed DXCC award and the sideband or phone DXCC award, because CW, it looks like, is going to be a long time, if ever.
Now, I mean, I'm just trying to imagine the pileups. I mean, we just had, I know Val mentioned that you had said that the pileups for this Ham Nation 300 thing were probably as big as some of the pileups you've had on some of these DXpeditions. Can you imagine the pileup when North Korea goes on the air?
It's going to be a wild time. There's no question about it. And, that's why we like to take a big team to kind of, spread out the activity on multiple bands and multiple modes. So, like one guy going there or two guys going there, it would be really a zoo or a mess.
Yeah. I just can't even imagine that, but maybe one of these days we'll get to find out. Well, it's time to pay a couple of bills here, but we'll be back and we'll take your calls with Jerry, WB9Z, right after this message from the Ham Station right here on Ham Talk Live.
This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you by the Ham Station. For over 37 years, the Ham Station has sold new and used radios, antennas, accessories, and equipment to hams everywhere. Give Dan or Jeff a call at 800-729-4373 or order online at hamstation.com. Ham Station carries all the major brands like ICOM, Yaesu, and Kenwood, and they have a wide selection of radio scanners, MFJ accessories, Heil sound products, amplifiers by Mirage and Ameritron, Cushcraft antennas, and more. Easy online ordering is at hamstation.com or call 1-800-729-4373 to place an order and talk it over with the experts. The Ham Station, proud to sponsor this episode of Ham Talk Live.
Oh, baby, you put a 5-9 in my logbook. Now enjoy more Ham Talk Live.
Join the conversation. Call us on voice with Skype at Ham Talk Live or give us a call at 812-NET-HAM1. That's 812-638-4261. Now, here's more Ham Talk Live.
Hey, the Ham Station. It's the best ham radio store in Evansville, Indiana. They have you covered for both new and used equipment. Give Dan or Jeff a call. 800-729-4373 or go to hamstation.com. Tell them you heard it right here on Ham Talk Live. We're on here every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. hamtalklive.com. Check out our Facebook page, Twitter feed, and Instagram. Just search for Ham Talk Live. So it's time for your calls. If you have a question for Jerry, give us a call. 812-NET-HAM1 is the phone number, 812-638-4261. Or you can Skype us. Just look for Ham Talk Live on Skype. You'll see the little Ham Talk Live logo there. And you can also tweet us at Ham Talk Live. And we've got a couple of those. And the first one is from Troy Simpson, W9KVR. It says, "Hi, Jerry and Neil. Just finished a track cookout and tuned in. Big thanks to Jerry for helping us out at the school," which Troy also teaches at a school and does ham radio over in Watseka, Illinois is where he is. And helping get the DXpeditions in the log. K5D was their first and quite memorable. So that's from Troy.
Oh yeah, I remember that contact. I think I was operating. I forget what band it was, but yeah, it was a memorable contact.
And we also have a tweet here from our friend Dr. Scott Wright, K0MD, who says, "First, congratulations on being recognized for this outstanding honor." And the letter from Dr. Ralph Fedor really summarized how your character and integrity qualified you uniquely for this honor. And he wants you to share with us what got you interested in DXpeditions and DXing. And then I've got a follow-up, but let's take that one first.
Well, that's a good question, Scott. What got me interested probably has to go way back to the the early 70s, and finding these old QSTs and going to the House DX articles and looking at the pictures of these exotic locations around the world, and these guys got towers and antennas or verticals set up on the beach, and that was it, man. That was even before I had a novice license. I was intrigued by DXpeditioning, and then probably after that, reading Don Miller's book, and then following Don Miller when he was writing for CQ at the time and writing about all of his travels and DXpeditions and stuff. I think that was where I really got started and thinking at least thinking about traveling around and DXing and also after that contesting and working DX contest and a lot of these exotic places on during the DX contest and these guys having big pileups where I didn't have a big pileup at home, and that was kind of my early days thinking about DXpeditioning.
All right, and then the other question here is, what lessons would you share with new DXers about being successful working you on the DXpeditions?
That's a good question too. With the new technology, if you got an SDR radio or any radio with a band scope, if you're looking at the pileup, you look for holes where there's nobody calling, or go to the top of the pileup. That's sometimes when we're tuning around and trying to get a call, lots of times myself and others will maybe go to the top of the pileup. The top of the pileup isn't quite as intense. And you might be able to pull somebody's call or a partial call out from the top of a pileup. And I've always had, good luck with that. And it always helps to be loud. So, whatever you can, get a big amplifier and get big antennas.
Yeah, bigger guns always seem to help get through the pileup. So that's some good information there. 812-NET-HAM1 is the phone number, 812-638-4261, or you can tweet us like these guys did at Ham Talk Live. Or if you're on the website, actually, you can even enter something on chat. That's what Troy did. So give us a call or a tweet here at 812-NET-HAM1 for your questions with Jerry, WB9Z, recently inducted into the CQDX Hall of Fame. While we're waiting on the calls here, let's talk a little bit about your station. You've got a pretty impressive antenna farm there, and so tell us a little bit about your contest station, and then what is the strategy to getting Val off the radio long enough to actually use it?
Let me answer the last question first. We hardly ever fight over a radio because we got two, sometimes three rigs set up here and multiple amplifiers and bandpass filters and antenna switching. We normally can't share an antenna, but we can share all the receiving antennas, which is nice. So, we normally don't have any issues, DXing and fighting over the radio. At least it hasn't happened recently that I remember.
Jerry, I want to tell you that was a very, very smart answer.
Okay, that
was very good.
Okay, multiple radios and multiple amps and with bandpass filters. So. You want me to mention?
Just a little bit about your station, what you have.
Well, the antenna farm. I've been out here since this is my grandparents' farm, so I've been out here since like 1983, and so I just didn't build this overnight. All the towers here were used, and I took them down and moved them, put them up and stuff. All the coax out here, and I got some big coax to everything from 1/2 inch to 1 5/8 heliax. I didn't buy any of that. I removed it from cell sites and stuff because that's kind of my one of my businesses, and so I got big coax all over the place. But I've gone through several generations of antennas over the years because I started out with commercial antennas, and they would only last so long because we seem to be in an icing area here. We have plenty of ice. We're only 80 miles south of Lake Michigan and stuff. And when you get a low pressure system sometimes in the wintertime and you get a lot of rain, it seems the way we get plenty of ice down here. So I'm on my 3rd or 4th generation of Yagis. All the Yagis, or most of the Yagis now at least, are all custom built. They're very heavy. I'll start out with the 80 and 160. We got 160 foot vertical on 160, and also works on 80 meters. On 40, there's a 4-element full-sized Yagi at 140 feet, and we also have several wires on 40. On 20 meters, we can choose from 5 different 20-meter monobanders. And on 15, we have 6/6 on 15, 10 meters. There's a 7-element monoband Yagi. I have multiple big tri-banders that can be used for, in different directions during a contest. You just switch to it. You don't have to rotate, the big array around. Also got Yagis on 12, 17, and 30 meters. On 6 meters, we have a 10-element, a 9-element, and a 6-element Yagi on 6 meters. So we got 3 Yagis, which is nice during a VHF contest, which we're actually getting ready for, which is the weekend after this coming. And then on 2 meters, 222 and 432, we got some pretty good size Yagis way up in high in the air also. So, and there's a lot of maintenance involved with this, but it's all worth it.
And what rigs are you using?
We got a little bit of everything. We got a ICOM 7851, a Flex 6700 with a Maestro, and a K3S that came back from Palmyra, and we use that also. So got a little bit of everything here.
All right, very good. 812-NAT-HAM1 is the phone number, 812-638-4261, or give us a tweet at hamtalklive. Or you can comment in the chat as well. We've got just a couple of minutes left, so we've got time for one more. If you want to chime in here with Jerry, WB9Z. So one question that I usually ask all the DXpeditioners that come on the show, it seems like these locations, because they're so rare, it's usually because it's someplace really, really hot or really, really cold. So which one would you pick?
I thought about that, and I think it's a toss-up because the cold locations usually involve a long boat ride to get there, and those long boat rides involve some seasickness. So, and then the really hot locations, and I've been in a couple places where we measured temperatures approaching 120 degrees, and I believe on Malpelo we might even have measured 126 degrees, but I'm not 100% sure that. I know it was at least 120, and on Swains Island it was 116 or so, and after 11 o'clock in the morning, you really didn't want to even go out in the sun. You just kind of hung out underneath the trees, tried to stay in the shade. But it rained, every afternoon, so the humidity was high, and then at night the insects would just pretty much eat you alive. So it's kind of a toss-up. But this Bouvet expedition coming up, it's going to be cold. It's going to be extremely windy. Dr. Glenn W0GJ says he's been kind of studying the weather down there, and it looks like there's about a storm down there, a windstorm, like every 300 out of 365 days out of the year. The wind is screaming down there, and so we're going to have to fight the wind and the ice and the cold. So Bouvet may probably be the roughest expedition I'll ever be on.
And you're still going.
I believe so. I just sent off another check a couple days ago, another payment check. So I'm still serious.
Yeah, still in it. All right. Well, very good. That's interesting stuff. And I know you've gone around and talked to a lot of clubs and a lot of hamfests about contesting. We talked a little bit about what you would say to a beginning DXer. Anything different that you would go for the contest crowd?
Well, that's another good question. After you get your first radio and you're happy with your first radio, and if you're on a limited budget and stuff, and instead of buying an amplifier, put your money into the antennas. Increase your antenna arsenal first for your contesting, and then if you still got some extra money left over, buy an amplifier. So, and then for experience wise, I like to say operate every contest that you can, even if you only put in like a few hours, and don't forget the state QSO parties. Val just got a really nice plaque from the Pennsylvania QSO party. So there's a lot of plaques out there. I actually sponsor a plaque for the Indiana QSO party because a friend of mine who's now a Silent Key had some property down in Perry County, Indiana, and him and his buddies went down there and did the Indiana QSO party every year. So to honor him, I donate a plaque in his memory. So don't forget all the contests. Operate all of them you can, and then find a local contest club. Find somebody that wants to help you out, and what better place is a local contest club, and then try and join a regional contest club. Like in our region here, it's the Society of Midwest Contesters, and we have the Society of Midwest Contesters has a yearly meeting. It's a whole weekend, and it's we have lots of presentations going on, and there's a lot of information gets exchanged. And then if you
I'm going to have to stop you, Jerry. We're out of time here, but thanks for coming on the show. It's Jerry WB9Z. Thanks for tuning in. Next week, Bryant Rascal, KG5 HVO, a 13-year-old CW op. And check out hamtalklive.com. 7-3.